amount you can be in there for life, you know.
And you can be there for life?
No, you know, you can only be in there for 2 years for life.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I mean, that's their rule.
I think that's generous, 2 years.
Yeah,
okay,
well,
go ahead.
Yeah, it is. It isn't. But the reason I went in there, my family was living in our van, and it just, well, my wife is disabled, my son is disabled, so well, I thought I got this electric wheelchair, and I needed a way to charge it up. I heard there was electricity in there, so cool, good idea. So I get in there, and I begged my son and my wife to come with me, and they said, no way, bed bugs, harassment. I mean, they heard this on the street, you know, and so did I. But I said, you know, you have
electricity.
Right, I need electricity. So, and you know, I'll try it out, and so I did, and you know, it was going pretty good. That Uchu Lingi, who headed this shelter, it was pretty good. I mean, the conditions weren't great, but the harassment wasn't there. There was a whole different atmosphere. But as soon as Waikiki Health Center took over, and the coordinator, I guess, I don't know if we want to say names, Jason Espero, took over.
You know, sir, I'd rather not have you mention it.
Okay, X that off. Okay.
Yeah, I don't want this to be a hostile meeting.
Okay, yeah.
This is an informational.
Okay, sure. I don't know. The only thing is the whole atmosphere around there, the harassment, and I was very outspoken with quite a number of other folks there, because the harassment and pushing around, and the worst thing was getting evicted from the homeless shelter. I can't believe that. I mean, that's why we're there, because most of us were getting evicted or in threat of getting evicted from some place, so we want to go there to get that. But they had such absurd rules that you could and I got evicted with many other folks, but for petty little misdemeanor things. And I just you know, I just found out that what I found out is, like some of my friends and myself, we would get extra jobs we'd have to do, because we would be we'd be persecuted for doing for speaking out. There was many things that were not happening there that we'd speak out over and over again. And anyway, I'm just saying that I found a lot of folks that they come in that shelter for a day or two, or sometimes they come in the same night, and by midnight they were out of the place. They never going to be in there again because of bed bugs and cockroaches and other things, and unsanitary conditions. And then some folks would stay a week, some folks, and then there were some of us that were kind of like, we speak out and we were fighters, and we said, no, we're not going to put up with this kind of crap. Excuse me.
That's all right. We'll ask the Department of Health to visit.
Yeah. Now I'm no longer there, but I'm in contact with a lot of folks there, and I'm very interested in, because I think this place could be run wonderfully. It could be a thing where they're full of compassion and full of good ideas of how to really get people back on their feet and getting on their way. But what this is well, you know, this is a big, huge warehouse. It is what it is like warehousing people, and you know, without much help getting you anywhere except back on the streets, basically. This is where I am again. Me and my family are back on the streets, you know, and it's not fun, you know. And you know, you know why we could do a better job on all those things. Anyway.
All right, I got it. We got it. Okay. Thank you for coming.
Sure.
So that gentleman, come forward, please.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Pete. My name is Pete Fonseca. I'm the son of a police officer. I was born and raised here in Hawaii.
What's your name, sir?
Pete Fonseca.
Pete. Are you a homeless person?
Yes, ma'am. Couldn't believe I would be in this position.
Pete Fonseca?
Fonseca.
Fonseca. Okay.
Fonseca.
Okay. Go ahead, Pete.
Listening to all of these complaints and stuff is really making me upset, man.
Cannot hear.
I said listening to all of these complaints is making me upset. Okay?
No, he is. Okay.
Next Step is the best place I can think of, any place for anybody to go. Okay? Yeah.
What do you
Rules
live
and
now as a
regulations.
homeless
Rules and
person?
regulations have to be followed. They lay it down. Okay?
You live at Next Step now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good.
Yes, ma'am. And rules and regulations, like I said, have to be followed. If you cannot follow the rules and regulations of the facility, something has to be done. The staff is fine. They do their job. The conditions are good. Bed bugs, not really. Not too much.
Not too
We get
much.
sprays. No, man. We get sprayed.
Okay.
And it's not a conversation of an everyday topic, okay? It's not.
Okay.
It's good. The conditions are good. I mean, we got children staying there, okay? So if somebody comes in drunk, belligerent, that's a scary sight for kids, especially if they got to listen to this. Something has to be done right away. They react on it, and it's taken care of. And if the person is told to get out, it's for a good reason, because it's dangerous. As far as the food, everything is good. Everything is good at Next Step. That's all I can say.
All right, thank
It's
you.
it's really,
We like
really
to hear
good.
positive things too.
Yeah.
All righty.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can I ask you the spelling of his last name?
No. Don't do that. Don't do that. You know, this is an informational briefing for us. Okay. Don't try to intimidate anyone. Okay. You'll be next, sir. One in green. Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for having this hearing.
What's your name again?
My name is Christopher Kediiva Hoikioni Camarillo.
Oh, right. Okay. Hey, Chris.
I guess you would consider me as chronically homeless, as having been homeless.
You're the one that lives in a car.
I beg your pardon?
You're the one that lives in a car.
I have lived in a car for like about a year.
Okay.
Last night I lived on Barataga Street.
Okay.
I am in a transitional housing program out in Kalaeloa. It's like if I had gone home last night, I wouldn't be here to testify in front of you this morning.
Okay. All right,
Because
I
it's
got it.
all the way out. But you know what? You seem rather obtuse to the fact, and it's like I can't believe that you're joking about bed bugs. I mean, that's no fun. And the other thing is like to think that it's like good, and that Next Step, like let's just stay there for 2 years. You really have no clue, Chair, of what is going on. You know what?
Oh, that's why I have this info brief telling
That's the whole thing. So it's like, you know what? I'm at my transitional housing out in Kalaeloa. It's like, yeah, they have all these little like little rules and regulations, and I have like a stack of papers of write-ups because it's like, well, in the length of time that I've been there, like say like 8 months or so, I've had 4 different case managers because they just shuffle through them so quickly. They fire them, hire them, quit, whatever's. But there is this fundamentally wrong thing. There's like more money that is being spent on the frickin' landscaping than on the housing. And that's just in my case, but I can look across the U.S. vets and it's the same thing. And I've been down to these shelters. I don't know if you have. They are horrid. And then it's like even when I applied for Shelter Plus Care over at IHS, it took me 2 days because they kept on sending me to like these different places to run around, and this nepotism that I keep hearing about, it's like yes, it does happen. It's like I go to one of these shelters because it's like you're supposed to meet counselors upstairs, like in the shelter, in order to get onto IHS Shelter Plus Care, and everybody is kicked out like during the daytime, and they're like lounging out in the streets except for like a few of these people. And I find out from the residents at the shelter that those people are related to the staff that are running it. So this is a outsider's opinion and an observation that I've made. And like I said,
Selected
Chair.
people get to stay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me, I was there, sir, and you know what? You have your time to speak. You can go, like, step outside and we can have a talk about this afterwards. But right now is my time.
Okay, sir, he's in the mic, he's talking, you are not allowed to speak. Okay? You have the mic.
Thank you. Another thing is, it's like, when there are issues such as anger or courtesy that may not have been learned in school, is not followed at the shelters, it's like there might not be somebody that has a gavel to prevent a mishap. And yes, like a gentleman expressed earlier, is go down there. You guys want to hear like what these homeless people have to say? Don't have this meeting at 8:30 in the morning. Go down to the shelter and like talk to these people. Come out to the street and talk to them.
Okay, we will consider it. Thank you so much
Consider it. You know what? The write-up from the guy that like is proposing like Bill 6, which like further criminalizes homelessness, says that he walked down like Baratania and Ward and saw this, and it's all utter short of bullshit. I mean,
We cannot use that language here. We made that ruling here. So, sir, thank you so much. I'm going to call the next guy now. The guy in green. Thank you.
You said I mean nothing of this. You gotta see them for yourself.
Hello, Roland Javar.
Okay.
I live in a next up shelter, but before that, I was living homeless, and as it took us maybe like a month to get in because it was kind of full. But when we got in there, we felt like we never like stay there, but we made it. Me and my girlfriend made a decision, and then we found out like there's like a lot of things that they help us with, like case management. Like I gotta see the doctors, and then every week they got doctors that come in there to check up on the people and stuff like that. And they say they're not helping you, but it's for you. Like if you're in there, you gotta seek the help, because in the shelter there is the help. There is people that help you with housing, to see the doctor. If you gotta see nurses, there is. All you gotta do is go seek out, and then you would find the help in there. I started working in a job training program too in the shelter, and it made me realize like, oh, I can work again. Like they're helping me find jobs and stuff like that. And living on the outside streets, like we gotta. Before, like living homeless was harder. There was the rain, packing our bags, cops telling us get away. We cannot stay here. Cannot stay there. And then when we came
They
into
let you keep your stuff, leave your stuff in there?
yeah, they let us leave our stuff in the shelter, and then it's like grateful because we can leave our stuff in the shelter. I mean, the staff is alright. Everything is good in the shelter for me and
Your girlfriend?
yeah, my girlfriend. I'm really grateful for the shelter for they didn't help us with housing, but we shut down that housing because we never have money first. But they got us someplace pretty fast, but we never have money to save up. But all I can say is the shelter is a plus for me and probably many others, but it's just a really good place, the Next Up Shelter. That's all.
All right. Thank you, Jabbar, for coming. Okay, sir. The one over there. Yeah.
Walk him up.
Oh, walk him up. Is that what it is? Okay.
This is Tim Walker, the gentleman that I spoke of earlier. His wife died at the shelter 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago, Friday.
All right. I'm sorry about your loss, sir.
I had a stroke about 3.5 months ago, and I mean, they took me to the hospital and everything, and I stayed 3 or 4 days and was released. And then I was assaulted down in Chinatown just 2 months ago. Severe head injury, and then I fell and broke my hand, and it's been one thing after another. As far as the shelter goes, I'm grateful for it because I lived on the street 5.5 weeks trying to get into Next Step. I just think that there should be something done as far as nursing goes. I mean, to have a nurse on hand at all times.
I thought the other guy said get nurse inside.
Yeah.
No?
There is people that have issues.
Once a week. Once a week. Okay. All right.
That
Okay.
have issues that during that time of the week, I mean, except for once a week, things can happen. I mean, my wife just died.
Oh,
you
so
know,
you're saying there should be more than once a week?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I think they should have a nursing staff on call at least 24 hours a day. Or something that comes up like, you know, this situation. I've had a hard time dealing with thoughts on a short-term basis, long-term basis. I already have steel in my head. Several bones were broken. I had a blood clot removed. And now I can't even basically stand up. It's kind of hard for me. I don't have a wheelchair. I have a, with the small wheels on it, like a, not a power chair, but
a walker.
Well, not like a, well, kind of like a walker, but you said...
Are you over 65?
No, ma'am.
How old are you?
I'm 50.
Oh, that's the problem. So, because if you're over 62, you can have one of those things. Okay. Well, thank you for coming.
I mean, it's just...
okay. I will definitely share that thought with with next step.
Thank you.
All right, you... oh, no, this... Oh, hold on. Let me... This gentleman been wanting to come. You'll be next. Okay.
I've been homeless 3 years.
Your name, sir?
Ricky Nakamura.
Ricky Nakamura, okay.
I think the shelter is great. It's hard to be run. It's hard to run a shelter correctly when you got all different stereotypes. You got mental illness, alcohol, drugs, and I think they try to do their best because in life, no matter where you go, there's all kinds of rules.
Yeah.
And it's a learning process. I got some place to sleep, not getting wet. Got a free meal every night. Good hot showers. And the thing is, to get out, you're responsible for your own life. You have to go hustle for work. It's just hard for me to get work because of my age. But when I do get work, it's pretty steady.
And they have somebody that helps you over there, right?
Right.
Find jobs.
I hustle a lot on my own.
Okay.
Yeah. It's going around. You can look at people's yard and it's bad and knock on the door and ask.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Yes.
Everybody has to do what you have to do. But the shelter, I'm very grateful for it.
We're happy to hear that, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. The lady? Yeah.
Hello, my name is Nani Moses, and I'm here because I'm also homeless. I used to live on the beach for about 3 to 4 years.
Are you homeless now?
Yes.
Okay.
And I live in the shelter at Next Step. I've been there for almost 2 years. I'm also in a job janitorial training, and you know, without the shelter, I don't think I know where I'd be right now. I think I would not have my kids, which I don't have now, but I'm also a recovering addict. I got off of drugs. Shelter helped me change my life completely. I'm clean now. I'm almost 2 years clean. I'm doing, besides the job training, they helped me save my money, you know, to build up money, even though I got child support taking, you know, a lot of my money. But that's besides the point. They take more than half of my check, but I still save a little just to get me a place. Shelter also helped me get transitional housings, you know, help apply for housing,
So
as well as
the shelter
Section
is
8.
totally free for you?
Well, actually, they're very flexible because of the job training. Sorry, because of the job training, they help you waive with your rent. Yeah, you only pay $60 rent, and I don't think that's
a
too
month,
bad.
a week?
A month.
Okay.
A month, which is pretty reasonable. The other part about bugs, they can be controlled. It's how you keep your area. You know, the other thing I like about the shelter is that the only reason why there is no law enforcement that's not allowed to be inside there is because of confidentiality. And I feel that everybody in that shelter should have their own privacy. If they want to be, you know, advertised, then a lot of people feel ashamed. Not too many people are very comfortable about being homeless, you know. So that shelter does confidentiality really, you know, on top. So the other part is that, and I'm grateful for that. The other part I love about the shelter is that they take mentally ill people too as well. You know, they're on medication. But the part is that having them be controlled, you know, the substance control on the medication is the one that they really, you know, work on. But eventually they are doing that. And because of their drug of choice, you know, people got character defects. Some people wander around. Because I was one of them victims. And the thing is that I could have hurt somebody, but because of what had happened, I learned how to just not retaliate on things, because normally I would retaliate. But other than that, the only thing is that I think I wouldn't pass judge on the shelter very quickly until they actually come in and find out for themselves.
All right.
You know?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. You're next, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Sugar Russell. I am part of Deoccupy Honolulu.
Are you homeless?
Yes.
Okay.
I do stay out at Thomas Square. I'm also a street protest medic.
Protest medic?
Yes. Specifically, a lot of training for police brutality and oppression by the state, but that's a whole other topic of the day. The reason I bring that up is because part of what I do is apply basic first aid that I've been trained to do. I'm CPR certified, first aid certified. A lot of the people that come to me are not just people within, you know, the park that I live, but also people that have been brought from shelters and stuff by other people to me because they've heard that I'm there. I have treated horrible infections, bed bite issues, staph infections. Yes, staph infections. I have seen broken bones that I've referred over to obviously a higher level of care. A lot of physical issues that have come directly due to within the shelter system. I believe the shelters are, you know, I'm glad to hear that it's helping people, but I think it's probably helping people who have the best set of tools in their toolbox and that need the most minimal assistance. I think where it's failing is with people who need more than that, people who may have additional issues where things like rule following to where some that's very simple to do, for others that creates anxiety, depression, other stress that triggers other issues for them. So I don't think there's really a good system in place in order to help people who are needing additional, you know, services beyond just the basics. That's where a lot of it's failing. That's where people are leaving the shelters. I do think that violence is an issue because I have personally treated people who needed help because of violence issues. You hear the horror stories. The horror stories are there because they genuinely happen. I have heard them time and time again from all sorts of different people. Something else that I have come to understanding, apparently service dogs are not always allowed. A lot of the times service animals are not. Oftentimes when you're houseless, there are people who have pets where it's their only kind of social interaction. It's where they feel safe. It's what calms them. There's issues with not being able to provide a good space for, you know, people with animals, with service dogs, also couples. I know you guys have also heard a lot with Housing First. I think the same kind of issues that you're hearing here are potentially ones that would be repeating in that program, and I would hate to see that happen because I think Housing First is going to be a fantastic thing and even beyond help anything that the shelters have been able to do. So I hope that you keep this testimony in mind. I would like to see you guys do another one in an afternoon because often people are off doing appointments first thing in the morning because they need to in order to run through the services that they need. I don't know where all you advertised. We got it because we have people on email lists for your hearings. But try to really make sure this gets spread around to not just here's some shelters, and then they'll work on bringing people out, really work on trying to outreach to the population. And honestly,
Phone number with my committee clerk, so
Okay.
if we ever do another one, we'll contact.
that would be great. Also, one very last thing. If earlier somebody challenged you to go spend some time in a shelter.
You like that, huh?
You got to examine why your gut is like, oh my God, that's a horrible idea. If you're not willing to stay in a shelter, how do you expect anybody else to?
Okay, any next speaker? Have you spoken earlier?
No.
No, you have not?
No, I haven't.
Okay, you'll be next, ma'am. Come on in. You come on. She'll be next. So make it brief because we only got like 19 minutes and I want to give
Hello
opportunity.
and good morning. My name is Oliver.
Hi, Oliver.
Hanawini. And I too am presently living at Next Step
Okay.
Shelter. Yes. For most people, what they spoke on topics about was that mostly about more housing, yeah, more shelters. And I also work for Waikiki Health Center in the job training program, which has given me, the desire and the passion to know that I can still go out and work and find a job. We have case managers that work with us there, and as well as a shelter coordinator. And for me, Next Step, when it was when I talked to a friend, he said to try and go there. They can help you. I think they actually have helped me and my significant other, yeah, or my girlfriend, whichever. Yeah, that the meaning of shelter is, if you haven't lived in a shelter, then you don't actually know what it is or what it's like, yeah. But at Next Step, yeah, it's peaceful. The staff are okay, yeah, and over 200 and something people. Those 200 people, they're also, individuals. They're also human too.
All right. Thank you so much, Oliver. Yes, ma'am. Come on up.
Can I go after her?
Sure.
Good morning. My name's Anita Hunt.
Are you a homeless person?
And I'm a homeless person due to domestic, what do they call it? When someone beats you up. Anyway, I ended up being sent to IHS at first. And I found that they had run their business like a prison when it's, not supposed to be that. So someone told me about Next Step Project. Sorry about my phone. When I first got to Next Step Project, all I could see is like 2 football fields, and that's just to walk in.
What did you say?
When I first went to the Next Step Project, and I had looked down the long road, and it's like 2 football fields.
Oh, okay. It's a big place. Can you turn it off?
Okay. He's probably my nephew. Anyway, I walked it. My girlfriend helped encourage me. I've had disabilities before I was there, and they have helped me in many ways. And I tried to return it, even though I'm not able to work at the time, to understand, even though the place is not perfect, it is better than any other of the non-profit organizations that I have been at. And as far as leaving at 8:30, well, it would be nice to be able to sit down and write all your stuff out, what you're going to do, plan your whole week, So they give us a weekend to do that because we can stay in on the weekends. But
Oh, you can stay in on the weekend?
yes.
Oh, that's nice to know.
And that's, yeah, and also holidays that, are able to, they have like clothes, they open up the doors on holidays, and if it's flooding,
Okay.
they take us to safe
You
ground.
should open you should let you stay in when it's pouring rain.
Yeah.
Did
Well, last
no?
time when they had
They
the
let you out?
tsunami coming in,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
They let you in.
If the rain is extremely harsh, then they do.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yes. If it's other times that they have called ambulance for people right away. They're very, they care about the program that they're running. Excuse me, nervous. And I really feel that the people that grumble about it are the ones that don't work it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And everybody that comes in here, I tell them to volunteer. Do anything you can just to volunteer so you have some kind of work.
Okay.
And they're going to see your volunteer methods, Okay. If you don't grumble about, cleaning the floors, because they got to be cleaned. If you had an apartment, you'd have to mop your own floor.
Okay.
You can't have someone else do it. But because they're on a limited budget, the help really works.
All right.
And it helps with depression.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank you
Anita.
very much. Have
Yes,
a good
sir.
day.
The one with the blue hat. Come here, blue hat. Okay, you'll be next. Are you a homeless person?
Yes, I'm currently homeless, me and my wife, and been there about 5 months. It's not the first time I've been homeless in my life, but it's the first time I've been in a shelter. I really don't have, honestly, nothing to complain about in this shelter.
Okay.
The shelter itself, the structure, of course, keep you dry, keep you safe out there. A lot of crazy people out there. You can get hurt if you're out there. You can be wet when it's raining, Yeah. The staff over there, they're not all right. They're unreal. They're beautiful. Tell you what, when we had the tsunami, some of these staff, when stay over their time of when they're supposed to work, they stood with us all the way to the governor or the mayor or whoever gave the clearance. No, the place over there is safe. Children, the kids inside there, I have never seen in my life so many kids that not whining. I get grandchildren. I get 18 grandchildren.
Okay, there's only one speaking. Please didn't applaud.
I get 17 grandchildren. Half of them whine more than the whole place of these kids. The people over there, I'm telling you guys right now.
Oh, you have your own ohana over there.
Well, I'm not close to all these people. They have a lot of people, but what I'm saying, yes, they do have a ohana, and they take care. I tell you what, the people that are complaining, the people that do complain about bugs and staff, they're not baiting. They're not taking care of the queues. I've been there 5 months. I don't know one cut. I don't lie to you. I found 2 or 3 bugs, me and my wife, so far. It's what you do and how you do it.
Okay.
They give us. I came from in my life. I was mostly in my life. I was locked up in prison. I have nothing. Now I'm getting something. This is the first time in my life that I get direction like this that I'm taking. I'm walking through this door and open for me. These guys get so much for offer. There is no reason why somebody should stay in there if they're going to stay in there the whole 2 years and not have something for themselves. If you handicap, that's okay. You got an excuse. But there is no excuse for anybody else to be dirty and not working.
All right. Thank you, sir. Okay, come on in.
My name is Stephen Rente. I've been in shelter for almost 2 years. I've been homeless for 2 years in the park. It's not nice staying in the park because I've been sick 2 times. First with staph infection and cellulitis. My daughter was living in the shelter. She told me to get out of the park and come into the shelter. So I had no choice. She didn't want me to die in the park. Since I got in the shelter, I've been well. I haven't got sick. No other years. I haven't got rained out or whatever it is. I haven't got harassed by the cops. And now I'm in a job training program, and they're helping me to find a job and do what I have to do to get out of the shelter so I can have my own place. Nothing's wrong with the shelter. It's better than IHS, I'll tell you this much. It's not where you sleep in mat to mat. You're in a cubicle and you have your own place where you can put your own things. So like I said, the shelter is a good place to stay, and I'm happy I'm there.
All right, thank you, sir. Anybody else? We got... Okay, no... Okay, come forward. We got 7 minutes left. Okay.
I'm glad that there's a bunch of people that's getting help.
Okay.
What I find disturbing is that you're naming off the people, are you houseless? Or are you homeless?
Okay.
Or are you this? And you're asking their names. But you don't want to name off the people that they feel is part of the problem while you're asking for a problem. That doesn't make sense to me.
Okay.
Because you're videotaping, everybody's recording, you're wanting them to put their name out,
All
but
right.
you don't want to sit there and listen to what they believe is part of it. That's a little disturbing. Next, it's not a thing that nobody's getting any help. Of course, somebody's going to be getting some help. But what you hear is people that's in there for years. Okay, they're hitting that maximum 2 years. What's keeping them from being able to get outside of there with, with housing? Is there, there's a lack of funding. There's a lack of education. There's a lack of help towards these people to find other opportunities or doorways that'll allow them to get out. When we have a system here where in a newspaper they're boasting $200,000 for renovation, but then a couple weeks later you got a gentleman from the city and county screaming, we got $63 million to beat and steal from people. The funding is off. You're asking why people aren't in the shelter. Maybe it's not so much of what exactly is going on there. Yeah, you're going to have bug problems. Yeah, you're going to have some violence. You got different situations going on. But maybe the people just don't trust the system when they're having to deal with the city and county beating and stealing from them. Or when they go into that system, they know of all sorts of other people that sit there and deal with the little bit of problems here and there for 2 years or 3 years and then get nothing from it besides thrown right back out on the street. There needs to be some kind of program that helps them transition out of that. I mean, I don't believe somebody that sits on the street for years finally decides to go in there, put up with some of the problems like with the bathroom situations, where there's porta potties and everything else for 100+ people using just a few porta potties. That's not a good situation. That in itself sounds disgusting, right? That's part of the reason why you guys don't want to stay there or just go in and walk through. It's so instead of allowing this type of situation going on, like I've told you before, the biggest problem that I see that needs to be done is to audit the city and county. I don't place blame on you. I don't place blame on the shelters themselves. But where's the funding going that's supposed to be helping these people? If you gain some trust with the people instead of 10 years of them being out there and not seeing anything, maybe these people will start to go. But then you'll also find out you don't have enough shelter for them. We always hear, well, there's 2,000, some people even claim 3,000 beds. And at any given moment of time, there's 200-300 beds empty. But we have 10,000 people that's out there. Or we can even stick with last year's figure of 6,000. That doesn't account for everyone that's there. So no matter what, they don't have an option. So while you're holding this meeting and saying, I want to know why people aren't in there, one big reason, there isn't enough space for them.
Well, I was told they're not full. They're not to capacity.
Okay,
Even
so you
IHS.
have 200-300 beds, but you still have, even with last year's figures that you can see from the city and county, and it's documented in there, left and right, from the auditor's office. Not even trying to go with this year's, where it's kind of been fluctuated. We're seeing a huge growth and how many people's out there, we'll just stick with last year's, and we'll even say on the high side you have 3,000 beds. So that means 3,000 people on last year's figures is still on the street with no place else to go. So this meeting right now...
They're not at the shelter. They're not to capacity.
So where are they supposed to go if there's no room?
No, they're not full to capacity.
You're avoiding the problem. The problem is right now nobody trusts. The people that's on the street doesn't trust the system because something happened to them. Something has failed them. Something has made them to believe that there's some wrongdoing. Something like the police, DFM, all these city and county functions and groups that literally steal from them and beat on them, and then you tell them to go into this other shelter of some sort, knowing that there's only 200-300 beds, but you're trying to lay claim that the other 3,000 people plus that there is no room for should mysteriously find themselves in there and fit into those 200-300 beds. That is, so you can say they're not to capacity, but you already have knowledge there isn't even enough room for the people that's there. That's the first problem that needs to be addressed. How are we going to find enough space for them? How are we going to find a program that's able to help these people to get out of there as a transitioning type of place, to get out of there sooner and not hit that 2-year maximum? You know, how are we going to audit the city and county
Okay. Thank
and
you,
look
sir.
at them?
I'll take one more person to speak, and that would be
Yeah.
the last person. Okay.
I have a program now to work.
Okay. I'll take one more person to come and stand here. Otherwise, I'll join this meeting. Okay. No. Have you spoken? No. All right. You have 1 minute.
My name is John Esposky. I'm currently at Next Step Shelter with my husband. When we've been homeless more than several times, never been in a shelter. We kind of got weary about, we heard about it, but we didn't want to go into it. We were shell-shocked when it first went in, but we were glad that it was better than living out there in a car on the beach, because it's harder. We have to live out of our bags, carry it along wherever we go. And then we found out that in there's a lot of help for us. We can sleep, we can sleep, and we can be safe. We can bathe with, hot water, and we get help. The staff is good, they got to do their job. 200 people, there's rules and regulation, and there's bed bug problems, but it can be controlled. But to me, I've learned over the past 5 months, the shelter is good. It takes us off of the streets, and it keeps us safe instead of living out there. And out there is no fun, it's no fun. And like I said, to me, we need more shelters like that. We need more shelters like that, and we need more transitional homes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janice. This meeting is adjourned. We're now going to the 10 o'clock agenda, and for you that came out to share your thoughts and feelings and situations, we're very grateful. And if we have another info brief in the future, we'll post it out and contact some of your leaders. Thank you very much.
They're not trying to shut down the shelter. They're trying to figure out how to
Do you need a break?
I'm fine. Sorry, I just came.
Okay.
What is it with the walk with traffic? It's just awful.
Oh, you're welcome, ma'am. You're welcome. Yeah. We just want to know how come it's not. How come? No, we're not trying to close it down. We just want to know how come. the Committee on Housing. We are here at room 329. Today is February 11th, and we are at our 10 o'clock agenda. I'm Representative Cabanilla, and...
Well, I'm Representative Woodson, representing Kahaloi.
Rep Chief.
Microphone. The representative from Kauai.
Rep Morikawa from West Kauai.
Thank you, members. I am going to gavel out so he can gavel in for our 10:05 agenda. I am recessing the 10 o'clock agenda.
Okay, members, we're gaveling in 10:05 agenda for housing. I'm going to gavel off and take recess.
I'm gaveling in on the 10 o'clock agenda. I hope that you're not as confused as we are with this. It's one of those procedural things that we have to do. All right, back on the 10 o'clock agenda. First off, we have HB 935 HD1 relating to conveyance tax. Amends the conveyance tax on certain real estate transactions and allocates a portion of the conveyance tax proceeds to the Natural Area Reserve Fund for watershed protection and invasive species control. And here we have Anthony Borge or Borge. Anthony, comments in opposition. Alika Campbell, an individual, in support. Karen Ganderson, an individual, in support. Mary Ikagawa, an individual, in support. Pamela Mentor, individual, in support. Gladys Peraro, an individual with a comment. Bill Sager, individual, in support. Gwen Sinclair, individual in support. Chipper Wickman, individual, in support. Gladys Marone, BIA Hawaii, in opposition. She's not here. Betty Larson, Legislative Liaison, Catholic Charities of Hawaii. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Chair Cabanilla and Vice Chair Woodson. Thank you very much for hearing this bill. We feel this is a very important bill. Catholic Charities supports the not only the Rental Housing Trust Fund and housing creation of more affordable housing, but we support the bill which would provide funding for very important land protection and invasive species control. We feel like this is the future of Hawaii. Both sides are really critical, the land protection as well as the affordable housing. We also support the increase in the rate of the conveyance tax because this was only impacted about 2% of all the conveyances each year that are done. We ask that you restore to the Rental Housing Trust Fund 50% of the conveyance tax. This is what was their percentage in 2006. The legislature saw the need, saw that we needed to make a greater impact on affordable housing. But unfortunately, when 2008 came, it was reduced. And so now we're asking to restore back to what the legislature had given the trust fund in previous years. The trust fund really is a very effective way. It has a proven record of creating housing. It has many more requests than it can fulfill. Last year it was $37 million in project requests, but they could only fund 4 out of the 9 projects that came in. So they could easily and very rapidly utilize the money. It's not going to sit around at all. It would be utilized. The Hawaii Housing Finance and Development Corporation has a competitive process, so this is open to all islands and can create affordable rental housing on all islands. One thing I want to mention is about the trust fund, it's also very important, is that it mandates that 5% of the units go to people at 30% of median income or below. So this is really the only fund that creates that on the state level. A small number spread out among all projects. So you don't have a big, grouping of them, but you do have them in every project. But I think it's very important about this particular trust fund. Thank you very much, and we appreciate your support for both sides of this bill, the environment and affordable rental housing.
Thank you, Betty. Shireen Minora McNamara, in opposition. Jenny Lee, Hawaii Appleseed Center.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. My name is Jenny Lee, and I'm an attorney with Hawaii Appleseed Center for Law and Economic Justice. We'd like to stand by our testimony and express our support for the increase to certain properties of the conveyance tax and the increase to the natural area preservation funds to control invasive species and support our watersheds. But we also ask that you increase the amount that goes to the Rental Housing Trust Fund back to 50% where it was in 2006. The Rental Housing Trust Fund is a key way to create public-private partnerships that will result in sustainable solutions for affordable housing. It is clear that we are experiencing an affordable housing crisis needing about 13,000 units in just the next 4 years. And to act on this now, to encourage developers to get into affordable housing, to create it, we know there are projects that are ready to go, and that if we were able to fund them, we would be able to begin increasing our affordable housing stock. So I respectfully encourage you to consider an amendment that would increase this to 50%, as well as passing the rest of the provisions in their current form. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Myung-Oh, Realtors. Thank you. Audrey Newman, Hawaii Green Growth in support. Joshua Atwood.
Good morning, representatives. Thank you for hearing this bill. My name is Joshua Atwood. I represent the Hawaii Invasive Species Council, and we stand on our testimony. I just wanted to clarify that the Invasive Species Council is an interagency group created by the legislature in 2003. It's composed of 6 state departments, including DLNR, Department of Agriculture, Department of Transportation, Department of Health, Department of Business, Economic Development and Tourism, and the University of Hawaii. So this was an interagency decision to support this bill. The conveyance tax, in addition to being used for the Rental Housing Trust Fund, has been used for conservation purposes for years, those purposes being related to impacts on the environment from development and the sale of real estate. So this is an appropriate measure. We strongly support it, and I just want to underscore the representative from Catholic Charities of Hawaii's point that the increases in conveyance tax described in this bill would only impact 2% of the real estate transactions in Hawaii. Thank you for your support.
My colleague here, I don't always assume that everybody knows me, so can you please introduce yourself?
Bert Kobayashi from District 19, Kapahulu to Kahala.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're back here. Mr. Kevin Carney, in support. James Mee, NAIOP, the Commercial Real Estate Company, in opposition. Mr. Mark Fox, Nature Conservancy.
Good morning, Chair and Vice Chair and members of the committee. I'm Mark Fox from the Nature Conservancy. We also are in strong support of the bill, both for the affordable housing benefits that this legislation and the additional revenue generated can provide, but also for natural resource protection, particularly protecting our sources of fresh water, our watersheds. We believe this is an appropriate and reasonable source of revenue for these two purposes. The continued purchase and sale of real estate and development of real estate in the state of Hawaii is doing extremely good things for our economy. Obviously, it's helping lift us out of our current recession, and that's a good thing. But as we do that, as we develop real estate and as we buy it and sell it, we push affordable housing out of reach, out of many people in this state. And so generating revenue out of the conveyance tax into the Rental Housing Trust Fund is a reasonable and important use of that funding source. Likewise, we are suffering repeated and recurring drought in the state of Hawaii. Our freshwater resources are taxed significantly. We've got water management areas occurring throughout the state. We're already drawing more water out of the Pearl Harbor aquifer here on Oahu than nature is able to put back in. What we're learning from science, climate change is going to probably produce more severe storms in Hawaii here in the middle of the Pacific, but actually overall less rainfall and probably more recurrence of drought. We The most important thing we can do to continue to have fresh drinking water and fresh water for all of the developed real estate needs that we have, whether it's our affordable housing, whether it's other residential areas, whether it's commercial real estate, whether it's watering your lawn, the best thing we can do is take care of the forest on the top of the mountain. If that forest is healthy, it acts like a sponge and it pulls rain and moisture out of the clouds and delivers them effectively into streams and aquifers for our use. If those forests are invaded by pigs and goats and weeds, they break down. Just like if you don't take care of the engine in your car, it starts to break down. You've got to care for that place so that it continues to function in the way that it was designed to function to work for us. Pulling that moisture out of those clouds, putting it in streams and aquifers so we have fresh water for drinking and all of the other uses in our developed real estate. Please consider this bill. It's the right thing to do. Thanks for your time.
And thank you so much for clearly explaining the nexus of the bill.
Happy to do it.
All right.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Gladys Ferraro, Partners in Care, in support. Lowell Kalapa, Tax Foundation Hawaii, comments. And Karen Sidan, Debet.
We stand on our right testimony in support of the intent.
Thank you. Mr. Ayla, or designee.
Madam Chair, committee members, Esther Kia Aina for DLNR. The department strongly supports this administrative bill. We believe that it is good policy. As passed out of the Water and Land Committee, the percentages, as you may notice, had been zeroed out. And I wanted to assure the committee that it is no one's intent to decrease the amount and percentage currently given to the rental housing fund at all. In fact, we would have grave concerns should we go to finance and find out that that is the case. So I just wanted to make sure that the committee members knew that. Third, if in fact the committee moves the bill out with any amendment, we would recommend that the sunset date that they have be extended to 2023. And the reason for that is this is a 10-year plan. And currently it sunsets in 3 years. But if in fact it is easier for the committee to move this forward and work it out with the Finance Committee, we're open to that as well. We just want to thank you for holding the hearing on this important bill. It impacts water resources and the quality of life of all of the people of Hawaii. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. In support, anybody else wishing to testify on House Bill 935? Please come forward.
Good morning, Chair and members. My name is Barry Usagal. I'm with the Honolulu Board of Water Supply. The Board of Water will be submitting late testimony in support of this bill for the protection of watersheds, and I apologize for the late testimony.
Okay. Anybody else wishing to testify on House Bill 935? Please come forward. Shannon, right?
My name is Shannon Wood. I am the president and co-founder of the Windward Ahupua'a Alliance, which was established in 2002. We were very actively involved when the initial legislation was first passed because we believed that it was very important that the conveyance fees would be used to improve the environment rather than just be put into the general fund. So I strongly urge that you move this out and continue to have the discussions about what the percentages should be, or as Esther said, maybe extending the sunset date to include 10 years. And by the way, I will get you in late testimony. I've been very much involved with three extremely important bills over the weekend, so there was only just so much time that I could take to write this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Again, anybody else wishing to testify on House Bill 935? Oh yes, please, Mr. Arakawa.
Good morning, Chair Cabanilla and Vice Chair Woodson. Dave Arakawa here on behalf of the Land Use Research Foundation. We're testifying in opposition to this bill, but first we'd like to say we 100% support the purposes of the fund, Natural Areas Fund, and but we believe that the conveyance tax is not the right vehicle to impose this. You know, and that's based on this report that was prepared by the auditor and was presented to the legislature and the governor in June of this year, July 2012. And this report recommends repeal of that fund because of the lack of a nexus, And we've prepared our testimony, and you know, this particular bill, and these bills, and bills of this nature may touch off a firestorm with respect to the conveyance tax, because now the whole community would know that there's very tenuous, if any, nexus between the conveyance tax and the Natural Area Reserve Fund. And you know, we would note that the auditor's report recommended repeal, and like I said, did say that there's not sufficient nexus to continue this type of tax from the conveyance tax. And guess what? Right? The budget director agreed, did not object, and the attorney general did not object either. So if you're looking at, I'm not saying that anybody's going to sue right now, but if big money is involved, can you imagine going 6 years back? Going 6 years back, all the conveyance taxes?
I'll report him to the next corporate council.
Sorry. I hope the city and county didn't sell any property during that time. But, you know, can you imagine everybody who sold property during that 6-year time going back? And my understanding is, and I'm not sure, I haven't read the 1992 report, but this is an ongoing thing where the auditor's office has warned the state about these special funds and the nexus. So we, again, 100% support the purposes of the Rental Housing Trust Fund, Natural Area Reserve Fund, and we would think that those types of purposes are so important, they're so important that they should be a percentage of the general fund. They should be funded through the general fund, given a percentage or whatever it is. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anybody else? Okay, that closed the testimony section. We are moving to the next bill at hand. That's House Bill 562, relating to solid waste. Clarifies that HPSA is authorized to contract with private businesses to remove food and green waste from public housing projects. It requires HPSA to report to the 2014 legislature on its progress on such contracts. We have with us the executive director. Oh, you know what? I'm doing it again.
Okay.
Can you please sit down? I forgot to ask questions. Yeah, you need the exercise. The second time around, yeah? Members, you have any questions to the testifiers? I should have a big teleprompter in front of me with questions. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
Hawaii Association of Realtors, please.
Morning, Vice Chair.
Thank you. Thank you for coming today. And I have two very quick questions. One, I'm going to ask you to please articulate on your opposition very clearly and concisely in about 2 minutes. But first, I want to ask you, what percentage of multifamily residential properties do you think this will have an effect on?
Thank you, Vice Chair. Our opposition is primarily based on the increases that was handed down a few years ago with the clear tier system. They initiated the tier system, I believe, 2009, and from there they did increase it about 300-400% thereafter for all properties within the tier system. Our continued objection is not just residential housing, but across the board. This is ag, multifamily, commercial, vacant. I mean, it goes across the board. While we do understand that it may be limited to properties 2 million or higher, we still feel that that is still an increase for all these properties across the board. The initial increase of the conveyance tax as proposed in the original bill was about, when we did the assessment, it varied from 45% to about 70% across the board, varying depending on which tier you sit on and whether or not you were included with a homeowner's exemption or not. So it varied on the original bill. They did blanket out on the HD1 version. So that is currently our position. One of the items that I would also like to echo is Mr. Arkau's testimony about the nexus issue. The natural resources is enjoyed by everyone, tourists, residents alike. As such, it would be more suited if everyone pays into these important programs. So that is one of the arguments based on the auditor's report that was released. Did I answer your question, Vice Chair?
Okay. And what is the percentage? Do you have a specific percentage with specific regards to the multifamily?
I can get that for you. I'm not sure offhand, but you're just looking for just residential.
Right.
Single-family residential homes, 2 million or higher.
Multifamily.
Multifamily, not including commercial, vacant, ag.
No.
Okay. Okay, I'll get that for the committee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody, any other question for Mr. From your?
How many homes would be affected? 2% equals how many homes?
Currently in the multiple listing service, we calculate the resales of homes. Resales meaning it's already been conveyed to an individual or family and it's being reconveyed. So it's back already out in the market as opposed to a new development. New developments are not tracked by our MLS system. I would probably defer that to the Bureau of Conveyance for the amount of properties that are registered there. We only have one small subset.
So yearly, would it be 100 or 1,000 homes? I mean, it's not 100.
It's more than 100 if it's just general conveyance in the MLS system in terms of transactions across the board.
So do you know how many homes will be affected by this bill?
I believe the latest numbers were probably just a guesstimate. Last month was about 250 transactions. So if you assume just a lower amount, 200 transactions per month, then it's about...
So it'd be 4 homes per month?
That's a speculation. I can get the actual numbers.
We don't have any more questions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I would like to bring, I think one of the issues here is there nexus versus no nexus. Can I bring Mark up and Mr. Arakawa up? You have opposing opinions over the nexus, and you want to reiterate why you said there's no option, and I'll have Mark repeat his thing.
Okay, well...
And we'll let the members hear it clearly.
Okay, well, before I start, for Representative Kobayashi, and if you folks really want to know how many parcels were affected, some enterprising attorney can advertise in the paper that it might be illegal, the conveyance tax might be illegal, and to contact him. And all the people that call in to him or her, all the people that call in to him or her for a rebate or to join a class action lawsuit, that will be a number that you folks could deal with. With respect to the nexus, conveyance tax is imposed on sellers of property. So, you know, my father-in-law passed away, and when he is going to sell the property to maybe my daughter or someone else, we fail to see how that creates a demand, you know, or creates a nexus okay, when you sell it like that. Also, if I decide to move from my single-family house to a condo downtown, to downsize, right, so that I don't have a yard to water anymore, I just have a condo, I fail to see how that would trigger that type of a nexus. So there are a number of other reasons why we believe there's no nexus. This would hit the sellers of large properties also. I was just talking about the conveyance tax in general. Now we can talk about the large property owners. Property owners like A&B, Castle Lake Cook, Maui Land and Pine. These large property owners are partners in watershed programs. They give back to the community. They set aside conservation lands. So why are they being hit with this? So among other things, the legislative auditor in their report did look at this very closely and found that there's no clear nexus.
Thank you very much. Thanks, David.
Counter remark?
Sure, happy to offer that. And just since David offered a preface, I'll offer one too that wasn't on topic. The Department of the Attorney General and the Department of Taxation are not opposing this bill. They may not have objected to the auditor's report, but they are not in opposition to this bill. This is an administration bill supported by the governor and supported by the administration. That aside, on the issue of nexus, I don't agree with David that there's no nexus here. I absolutely agree with David that there are many other funding sources that have a nexus as well. GET, general fund, a variety of things. We should be funding taking care of our watersheds for everybody, including developed real estate. The history of this is that we have not. We have not dedicated a portion of our general fund to this. We have not dedicated a portion of our GET to this. Year in and year out, decade in and decade out, we have not dedicated enough resources to take care of the source of our fresh water in this state. Now that aside, you can pick your source of revenue, but we are experiencing water shortage in this state in a significant degree, and we have got to take care of the place where that water comes from. And it's not the well, and it's not the tap, and it's not the pipe, it's the forest. Those other things are just delivery mechanisms. Now, as for developed real estate and the conveyance tax, there's a nexus there too.
They pour concrete underground that collects the water for the water.
You can pick a variety of things, but the more we buy and sell and the more we develop real estate, the more pressure we put on our natural resources. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. As I mentioned before, the development of real estate, the use of real estate in this state is lifting us out of the recession. And I am extremely grateful for those large landowners that David mentions that are partners in watershed partnerships and recognize that they needed to put their uplands in those areas to help manage them. But the point remains, our developed real estate uses, everything from agriculture all the way up to multifamily homes and tall condos and the beautiful Waialae golf course that I drive by on my way home, and I've had a chance to play there once. All of those things are supported by fresh water, to drink it, to flush the potty, to cook the food, to water the lawn, to water the crops that we all want to eat.
We agree on.
Where does that water come from?
We agree.
It comes from the forest. And the more we buy and sell and develop that real estate, the more pressure we're going to put on that water source. Thanks.
I just wanted to clarify. Our position is that there is a minimal linkage, but as the auditor said, there is no clear nexus, and that is the standard under the law, clear nexus. So I'm not saying there's no nexus, there's minimal linkage. The report found minimal linkage, but no clear nexus.
I respect the auditor, and I respectfully disagree with her.
All right. Any other members?
Yeah, I have I don't know if this is a question. How many other, I too don't agree with using this tax for that purpose. We should be funding it regardless out of our general funds. How many other initiatives are going through right now to help the watershed? Do any of you guys know?
There's a bag fee bill that's pending in both houses. The House has had hearings on that. The Senate has not had hearings. And that bill came up last year and didn't quite make it through. So there's that one. The governor's office has also asked for CIP funding for watersheds as well. I did see a bill in the Senate, although it has not received a hearing, and you can probably imagine some of the reaction to it, but was to take a small portion of the bottle fee and put it towards watershed as well. So there are a good handful of measures. The one that's moving most actively in addition to this one is a bag fee, grocery bag fee.
Thank you.
About half a dozen.
Yeah.
Half a dozen.
Thank
bills.
you.
That's right.
Okay. Alrighty. You have choices, huh?
Yes, you do. Thank you very much.
Like the general fund. Yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Kobayashi?
Oh, for you two gentlemen, you know, sometimes you see in legislation a statement such as the legislature finds that. So if there were in statute or in committee report a clear declaration that the legislature finds there is nexus between conveyance tax and funding of conservation, per 13 other states providing such funding, would that change your position?
You know, we do believe that there is linkage, so there's some nexus, but there's not under the law. We're bound by the law, and maybe you have to change the law that sets up special funds.
Well, we would change the law by a one-sentence statement.
Wow, saying that you don't need a clear nexus to tax people?
We would simply say there is a nexus.
Okay, I guess, well, anyway, you know, that the legislature can do what it wants. Many years ago, the county was looking at taking Board of Water Supply funds for other measures, and that was stopped by the legal office at the city, you know. But, you know, it was funds that ratepayers paid to the Board of Water Supply, and people wanted to use it for other purposes. The Board of Water Supply said, no, the ratepayers pay this for a certain purpose. They're not paying for other city functions, okay? And if you folks decide to put in a sentence in the law says, if we say there's a nexus, no matter if it's true or not, you know, I don't know if that would be challenged. Good idea, but you know, I don't know if that would be challenged. There has to be under the law right now a clear nexus. And you're right, there is a nexus, and I admit there is a nexus. There's a linkage, but not a clear nexus, which is what is required under the law. We should fund these programs, Rental Housing Trust Fund, Natural Area Reserve Fund. We should fully fund them, but through the general fund.
Okay, members?
I couldn't agree with you more, Representative Kobayashi.
Having heard none, members, we're now moving to the, thank you, gentlemen, to the next.
I have just a quick.
Oh, you have a question?
Esther.
To this gentleman or to Esther? Okay.
If you don't mind, I'm going to bring up Emma Ewan as well, who is our lead staffer on the initiative.
Okay, so just reading a testimony that HB 935 may have unintended consequences, especially for our island families who have large properties, for instance, agricultural farms, housing developments, environmental programs, so which then may be transferred within the property within their family. Do you have any comments on that? I mean, that's a concern of mine.
Are you talking about
there'll be unintended consequences with this bill with the conveyance tax?
It would affect properties if they are above $2 million, and so that is the status, and the rate structure goes higher based on the price.
And so my concern is, I believe most agricultural farms are above $2 million, even the small farms. And I wouldn't want to see this unintended consequence when we're trying to promote sustainability. I know this is kind of off track, but most people are talking about, but a huge concern of mine is also sustainability and feeding our islands, and I don't want to see that unintended consequence. I mean, do you have anything to rebut
Well,
that?
Representative, what I think we need to do, that's a good point, and maybe I think that's something we have to consider should this bill move forward and go to the Finance Committee to look at possible exemptions.
Okay, thank you. And then the other concern I have is the unspecified amounts. It's with something that
was an intent by the chair of the Waterland Committee, who felt that it was more appropriate for the Finance Committee, given all of the other budgetary items and other bills to determine that. But I didn't think that anybody had a problem with the original amount. They just wanted to make sure they had the flexibility.
Okay.
But as I said earlier, I know that a concern had been raised by advocates for the rental housing fund that somehow their amount, which is currently 30%, would be decreased. DLNR has no intent on doing that.
Okay, thank you. One of my big concerns is the unintended consequence that I mentioned previously.
Sure.
So, okay, thank you.
I guess one thing to mention is that this bill would do a lot to help agriculture, and one of the main things that agriculture needs is a supply of fresh water. And so this type of action to increase our forested watersheds would have great consequences for our ability to provide water that will be needed for a renaissance of agriculture in the state of Hawaii.
And I don't disagree, but I think maybe finding where the funds come from.
Sure. We'll get back to you, Representative. We'll have a breakdown of what our preliminary research has found with regard to the status of the various lands that are $2 million and above.
Okay, thank you, because I know most of the farms are family farms.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, if no more questions, members, let's move on to the next bill, House Bill 562, and I'm going to call the director again.
We stand at this very spot in support of the bill with that amendment to strike section number 3.
All right. Anybody else wishing to testify on House Bill 562? Yes, ma'am.
Again, my name is Shannon Wood, Windward Ahupua'a Alliance. One of the issues that we've been actively involved with since March of 2003 is waste management issues, both solid and sewer. And because of the work that we've been doing over the past decade, when the similar bill was introduced and actually heard first in to Senator Chen Oakland's committee, what I suggested is that to bring people from the city, environmental services, and the committee chair who deals with this, the committee that deals with this together. So what she has done is deferred the bill itself, and for the purpose of addressing the issues, both the environmental issues as well as the other kinds, the cost issues, by establishing a working group / task force and to come up with suggestions, suggested legislation that would be submitted next session, because this is the first of a 2-year session. And my biggest concern about this is that of the people who live on the island of Oahu, I'm only speaking now about Oahu, 48% of the people who live on this island are renters. And of that number, about 55% of them live in multifamily housing.
This is about HPHA. Are we talking about
and what it is that multifamily housing does not have city services for recycling. And that's one of the issues that we need to address. It's not just, public housing, but I'm talking about condominiums and rental units, and regardless of where they may happen to be. And that's what I'm trying to work with. How can we get only about 170,000 single-family or duplexes have, 3-bin recycling, and even though people pay property taxes, they are not getting the services. So I just wanted to let you know that I've got an appointment tomorrow, Wednesday afternoon, was Councilmember Stanley Chang after his committee meeting to talk about what we can do to address this. And I have an appointment a week from this coming Thursday with the Laura Kahikina, who is the new Environmental Services Chair, to be able to see how we can address this and do it in a way that it doesn't cost people, especially in public housing, any additional charges, because of the fact that this is, for those of us who live in single-family homes or duplexes, we don't have to pay for this directly. It's part of the property taxes. Thank you.
Alrighty. Any other testifier for House Bill 562? Having seen that, Director, can you please come up?
Good morning.
Good morning. How do you handle the waste right now, currently? How do you?
We don't have a contract for this kind of program at this time. We don't have the funds for it. As the previous testifier indicated, if there is a solution for the whole 170,000, we'll be happy to be part of that for our 6,000 units.
Okay. No, but my question is, you now have green waste and solid waste currently, right? How do you handle it now?
Most of the green waste that we have, we mulch it and we use it for the property itself.
Okay. You have any problem with that?
No, there's no problems.
How about the solid waste?
No problem that I'm aware of.
Okay. So why do we have the contract if you don't have no problem at the moment?
I think the bill is probably going beyond that. That's my understanding. We worked with the introducer of the bill. In the Senate, we opposed it for that same reason. But since we worked with the introducer of the bill, so long as Section 3 is struck from the bill, we have no opposition to it, because at this time we do have the capability of contracting if we need to.
Okay, then there's no need for the bill. Why fix something that's not broken?
I understand that this bill may be. We'll leave it up to you.
Huh?
We'll leave that up to you.
Okay. Because you said it's working. You have this.
So far, we don't have any issues. We do acknowledge that if there is a mechanism whereby us, as well as the 170,000 units, have the same programs that are afforded to the private homes, like our own homes, that will be beneficial, where you have different types of recycling. At this time, we don't have that, and we don't have any issues, as you have indicated. So if it passes, we'll be in compliance, and if it doesn't...
You can do it on your own, you said?
Yes, we have been.
Okay, thank you, Director.
Thank you.
Members, you have any questions? Having heard none, what I would like to do is recess the 10 o'clock agenda. We will have decision making after the 10:05 agenda. Recess the 10 o'clock agenda.
Agenda. We're looking at 3 House concurrent resolutions. The first being H.R. 16. This, in essence, it approves the sale of lease fee interest of 43 Papa Hehi Place in Honolulu. The first testifier we have is Troy Abraham in support. Is Troy here? Okay, again in support. We're calling up Karen Seddon, Executive Director.
Chair, we stand on our testimony and support and are available for any questions.
Thank you, Director. Moving on to Mr. Lim, Director in support.
They weren't able to be here today, so I'll stand on their support.
Okay, for both. Very good. Moving on, OHA offering comments. Is OHA here? Okay, thank you very much. Members, are there any questions with regards to HR 16?
Mr. Chair.
Okay, Representative Kobayashi.
I received a telephone call at about 10 o'clock today from Edward Butch Correa, who currently leases this currently leases this property, saying that he is in favor of HCR 16. He just was informed of the hearing notice this morning, just within the last hour, and hence could not submit late testimony. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Is there anyone else that would like to have any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, moving on to HR 17. It approves the sale of lease fee interest of 95011 Kauhealani Avenue, number 111 in Mililani. First testifier, we have Karen Seddon in support.
Yeah, we stand in support.
Thank you very much, Director. Richard Lim. Also.
Testimony and support.
Thank you so much. Also in support. OHA with written comments. OHA still not here. Okay. There's no late testimony. Members, do you have any questions or comments with regards to HR C-17?
Question.
Representative Kobayashi.
Could someone explain why we're dealing with one condominium unit within an apartment building and not the others?
The situation with this is that each leaseholder can come in and ask to buy their fee. They need to do it when they can afford to do it, et cetera, et cetera. So they come in and they ask, and then we bring it into the legislature for you to approve.
Okay, thank you, Representative Kobayashi. Is there anyone else that would like to submit comments or have any questions about this measure? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on to HCR 36. It's requesting the Hawaii Public Housing Authority and Hawaii Housing Finance and Development Corporation to create a redevelopment master plan and more housing units for Kokoi Gardens and Mayor Wright's homes. Calling up the first testifier, Mr. Troy Abram, in support. Troy's still not here. Okay. Director Seddon.
We stand on our written testimony in support of the intent.
Thank you so much. Also in support. So, actually, you said support the intent. Thank you. Director.
We submitted a written testimony supporting the intent of the resolution.
Thank you in support of intent. Okay, members, are there any questions or comments? Okay. If not, we're going to recess.
36 already?
We did?